Hello, this is part number 2. It's an update on how I finally repaired the battery pack of the e-bike used by my wife. So it took me a while to first clean up, understand exactly how to remove um, the battery cells without deconstructing the whole thing. So I end up removing this line, so 5 cells, and then also these 5 cells. So basically, maybe it can help other people, but without deconstructing all, it's about there is on the holder, on the spacer, there's something you cut and so on. So of course, when you reassemble, I guess it won't be as strong for the lateral movement. So among these 5 cells, they were the culprit. They were the reason why the BMS will shut down at 36 volts and below. 2 cells were totally dead. 3 were still okay, but I guess they were overstressed through time. Remember, all these cells, 2016. So I kept these. Maybe I will reuse them for some non-vital project. I don't know. And then among these, the 5 cells here, again, one I discovered was leaking. The lithium was leaking, so it was quite a surprise. This, and then another one was quite bumped. So as I explained on the first video, at that time, it was I think in 2019, there was a problem with this pack. Sent it to the manufacturer in France, and he did not a great job. It was very, so it took me a time also. So got the space, I got the spacers. I bought cells, used cells, but which have not been, cells from 2020. The idea is I don't want to change all the cells because it would cost a lot of money. Plus, even if these cells were 2016, they still had some, let's say, some juice. So I didn't feel like creating junkyard and pollution. So instead of buying very new ones, I bought one manufactured in 2020 from Netherlands, who it was claimed they were never used. So I get the HOT. This might be a good equilibrium. So I got the spacers. It was quite difficult to get spacers in Europe, so I ended up buying from AliExpress. I bought the nickel strip. This I will do later. I bought Capton, and so I kept all these cells. And I follow many persons on either on the EV blog forum or on personal. They say, boy, I could use a hot air iron to solder directly, but there was a consensus it was quite tricky, maybe dangerous. So I end up choosing the safe solution of a spot welder. Initially, one of my neighbors lent me one of his spot welder running on batteries, but it was not enough strong. There was some problem, it was not great. And well, same thing, cheap. So then I decided to get this one, which is directly connected to the grid, so it has much more, much more power. I'm not convinced it's very precise, but it did a perfect job. So I end up, as you remember also, so I end up soldering everything, put in place, and I put the Capton. You might remember on the other video that the French manufacturer back that time, he let a lot of glues and strange things. So I end up making a huge cleaning to really have everything, neat and so on, removing the glue or whatever material he was using, And at the beginning, I was a bit worried because when I made a full charge, the new bank, the new row of cells, they would not reach the maximum voltage value. They reached like 3.7 or 3.8, where all the so this one and this one. So I thought, oh gosh, maybe they were not so new. I wasn't sure, but anyway, I decided to pursue the testing. Where the others, they would reach 4 volts instead of 4.2 volts if they were totally new. But then I decided to cease, so install in the e-bike. We made a lot of kilometers to see if first the problem of the BMS shutting down at 36 volts, so no power, no nothing. So that problem did not occur anymore. So I guess maybe it's still something I don't know. Maybe I should have pre-charged all these cells to their maximum values. I still not clear how the BMS. I guess there are different type of firmware on the BMS. So I don't know exactly the BMS here, how it balances whatever. What is the correct procedure? Like if you install new batteries, should you fully pre-charge them, charge them, and then install them even the other ones are not? Or will it self-balance after a few run and goes? This is still something I'm interested to hear any explanation, recommendation, or explanation about, the let's say the right way to install when you recondition a battery pack. What is the charging procedure? Should have all the same values, voltage or not? It's not clear. But anyway, it seems to work. I will wait a bit more to on the bike, some cycling, charging, discharging, running, and then later I will safely use the thermo retractable thing to install on the bike. And yeah, this unit, it's very strong. I don't know if it's good quality. I had some problems about how tight this would hold. In fact, when I bought it, I got a problem here. It was bumped. The vendor from AliExpress was quite not honest, want to reimburse or whatever. It was strange, but it did the job. The important thing was it was very powerful. I think when I use it, I choose 80 here for the amperage, and I put this knob. I think it's the time. There is a pedal, anyway, and anyway, so this is a thing. One last thing, maybe can help other people doing reconditioning of battery pack, is I notice on some videos they really about this is the positive output, negative, and they recommend to really put it on the middle. The thing is, you want to draw, it's how you balance. So I know there are some methods or optimum methods where you solder that bar, because at the end you see all the energy is being transferred. These are parallels, these are in series. So I decided to let it here in the middle, like to get let's say same loss, nickel loss is very small, but anyway. And then I noticed also that since that thing, that spot welder was so powerful, I noticed that the French manufacturer back in 2016, he didn't, his spot were not very tight. It was quite a miracle. I guess the battery had been able to run for so long, except some bars that it really got desoldered, because so on many spot I redid it to reinforce, let's say, the spot welding done by this company. But anyway, it's an interesting journey, because I learned a lot, and I got help from a farm, from private persons also. And this shows that if you are careful with a very low budget, you can really, in fact, create your own battery pack. It's much cheaper, and at least because you see, initially I thought to pay I pay more than 500 euros this pack in 2016 to a reputable manufactured, made in France, and then it end up I had many problems with this pack. So now it's interesting. Plus, it brings the joy and the knowledge, to do spot welding. This was something totally new for me. I've been doing electronics for many decades, but it's electronic components, PCBs. This is another arena, and I will see what I will do, how I can reuse on some small projects. For example, some of the internal batteries of test equipment. I don't know, but the two others, in fact, they should be 10. I replace total 10 cells among the 50. 4 of them two were almost 0 volt, even negative volt. So that was the reason of the initial failure. One was leaking, another one was quite burnt or never connected due to a poor welding from the guy. So that's why I put 2020 year here and here. Okay, thank you. And if you have any recommendation about what is the correct procedure, how when you install new batteries among old batteries, the voltage alignment or balancing or whatever, or does the BMS will, after few charging, discharging, will rebalance and everybody, every row will have its same voltage or not, or how it age? I'm interested to learn to the community. Okay, thank you, and have a nice day.